How you doing? It's Sandesh here, and I'm here to do a video on an article on the Grey Zone, and it's about and it's called Keir Starmer faces renewed scrutiny over allegations he protected Jimmy Savile. I mean, no, I mean, this just the name of this article already makes me sick. It's not the fact that it's not the fact of who done the article, because I've got a lot of respect for the Grey Zone, to be honest. It's just the fact that I didn't know that I didn't know the fact that he pretty much represented Jimmy Savile. Disgusting. I mean, if you don't know who Jimmy Savile is, I mean, just look him up. That's all I've got to say. Um, and before I get into the article, if you could follow me on X and subscribe on YouTube, Rumble and Odyssey as well, if you don't mind, please. I'm going to get into the article now. As the UK's new MI6 aligned Prime Minister takes power, questions are resurfacing about how key files on infamous British paedophile Jimmy Savile disappeared under his watch. In October 2012, a documentary, exposed how veteran police personality, veteran British personality, Jimmy Savile sexually abused vulnerable underage girls throughout his lifetime. I don't think it was just underage girls; it was underage boys as well. So I don't know why they didn't mention that part. This led to an eruption of reports of abuse spanning decades and official inquiries into multiple institutions to which Jimmy Savile was linked. Today, the full extent of his crimes and the total number of his victims is unknown. It has nonetheless been confirmed that the BBC, NHS, British police, and many German journalists had full knowledge of his paedophilic and necrophilic perversions well before his death. That is definitely 100% true. Along the way, there were multiple missed opportunities to stop Savile's industrial scale sex crimes. Most substantively, I think that's what it says, in 2007, police made contact with a number of women who had come forward to testify they were assaulted and raped by Savile, leading to the start being grilled by police about the allegations. That investigation was, however, shut down and never publicly acknowledged. Details of how the probe was torpedoed didn't emerge until much later, implicating both investigating officers and the Crown Prosecution Service (CPS). The CPS was at the time led by Keir Starmer, now His Majesty's Prime Minister. As previously documented by the Grey Zone, Britain's new Premier has a deep, long-running relationship with London's national security establishment and security intelligence apparatus, as well as the elite trilateral commission. He helmed the CPS when the service protected MI5 and MI6 spooks from prosecution for torture and connived to sustain a bogus rape case against Julian Assange. The CPS destroyed key emails relating to this subterfuge, I think that's what it says, which served to keep the WikiLeaks founder holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy while facing extradition to Sweden. When prosecutors in both countries knew the charges had no substance, during this time, the service also shredded all records of Starmer's 4 trips to Washington, D.C. It may be no coincidence that every file held on Savile by the CPS also disappeared in breach of basic protocol. To say the least, Starmer has clear grave questions to answer about what he knew about Savile's crimes and the role he and his then agency played in insulating the serial paedophile and necrophiliac from justice. The same British media that has fueled Starmer's ambitions has aggressively shielded him from critical scrutiny on the matter. What follows are the dimensions of a very British cover-up. In February 2022, during a parliamentary juice, disgraced former Prime Minister Boris Johnson accused Starmer of having spent his time as CPS chief prosecuting journalists and failing to prosecute Jimmy Savile. The broadside ignited a public firestorm with British politicians of all parties and the entire mainstream media lining up to condemn the Premier's comments as a repulsive liberal. A senior Downing Street staffer resigned in disgust. The pressure grew so severe, Johnson retracted his comments in a matter of 3 days. However, the fact remained that Starmer was Director of Public Prosecutions when British authorities possessed persuasive evidence of Savile's heinous sexual crimes over many years, and he inexplicably refused to move against the paedophile. Sources within the CPS have claimed that he had no knowledge of the decision to drop the case. It is also commonly alleged that a formal inquiry he ordered in 2012 into the failure to prosecute Savile condemned investigating police, not the CPS. As the inquiry reports and contents make clear, this categorization is completely false. Officers who interviewed Savile's victims in 2007 and 8 were indeed slammed for not providing them with more information, namely that others had independently come forward, telling disturbingly similar stories. The report concluded that their testimony should have been acted upon, as there was nothing to suggest that the alleged victims had colluded in their accounts, nor that they were in any way unreliable. Despite this, police treated them and the accounts they gave with a degree of caution, which was neither justified nor required. It is nonetheless clear officers shut down the investigation under express CPS direction. The service's designed reviewing lawyer on the allegations, an extremely experienced rape specialist, told police at an early stage he would not be inclined to prosecute these cases because they were relatively minor, and due to the time they had elapsed since the offences were allegedly committed. The CPS's lawyers' relatively minor appraisal of Savile's heinous crimes troubled the inquiry investigator. I will hope that any prosecutor would regard a sexual assault as being in and of itself serious, they wrote. These particular assaults were far from trivial. They were represented a course of conduct against vulnerable women and girls by a man who was in effect in a position of trust. As a result, the investigator had reservations about the way in which the prosecutor reached its decision. The allegations were made both very serious and credible. The prosecutor should have recognised this and sought to build a prosecution. In particular, there were aspects of what he was told by the police, which should have caused him to ask further questions. I have been driven to conclude that had the police and prosecutors taken a different approach, a prosecution might have been possible. Despite these grave criticisms, the investigator concluded, I have seen nothing to suggest that these decisions not to prosecute were consciously influenced by an improper motive on the part of either police or prosecutors, which might be true, if only because all CPS files on Savile were destroyed in October 2010, and the report was therefore dependent on material provided by the police to show what documents were seen by the reviewing lawyer and the advice which was given. Even these records were, in parts, either incomplete or contained internal inconsistencies which made it at points difficult to assess what happened and impossible to recreate with any certainty what was actually seen by the reviewing lawyer. For its part, the CPS had no record at all of the case. The inquiry was told this was due to the decision to take action against Savile, resulting to the services file being automatically deleted according to the CPS normal policy. However, service guidelines on rendition and disposal of evidence clearly state that documents are on discontinued cases in which no proceedings have taken place or where the case was discontinued before trial must be kept for 5 years. The destruction of the Savile file was a flagrant breach of these rules. The decision to violate these guidelines on such a high-profile case had to have been made at the highest levels of the CPS. We are thus left to ponder whether Starmer himself made that call. If so, why? It is also an open question how, after reviewing the service's handling of the Savile case in 2012, Starmer reportedly came very close to rubber stamping the original decision not to prosecute. Before appointing his own CPS chief and legal advisor Alison Levitt to conduct the formal inquiry, their report findings ambiguously assert that Savile had a very clear case to answer based on the allegations collected against him at the time alone. In April 2014, Levitt was rewarded for his CPS services with a lucrative job at high-ranked law firm Mission de Rea. I think that's what it says. That June, Starmer joined her, and the company had been fined enormous sums for facilitating money laundering. It frequently helps wealthy individuals and powerful corporations abuse the British legal system to intimidate and destroy journalists. Starmer was forced in July 2017 by then Labour Party Jeremy Corbyn to depart his well-remunerated position there after taking a shadow cabinet role. Starmer received over £20,000 for just 24 hours of work at Mission de Rea in 2016. Losing the post was undoubtedly a bitter pill to swallow, but he landed on his feet. His position as shadow Brexit Secretary afforded ample opportunity to undermine Corbyn, pushing Labour towards a pro-Remain stance, contrary to the party's leader's official position. Against the will of swathes of voters, when the May 2019 European elections rolled around, Starmer was openly demanding a second referendum on Britain's EU membership in defiance of shadow ministers. Due to intense bullying and threats from Starmer and other anti-Corbyn elements, Labour finally adopted a formal policy of a people's vote on leaving the EU in July that year. It was a cataclysmic error, making the party's crushing defeat in December 2019 election a fait accompli. I think that's what it says. Was this a conscious act of sabotage by Starmer and his clique to doom Corbyn? I would say it was, and paved the way for their own rise to power. Academic analysts from months earlier showed Labour's only shot at victory was to target Leave voting Conservative marginals. It must be not to be forgotten that, as the Grey Zone revealed, the second referendum policy originated with the little-known political party Renew, set up by individuals tied to NATO's Stratcom Division, MI6 and British Army Psychological Warfare Unit 77th Brigade. On the contemporary campaign trail, Starmer has admitted he knew Labour were losing 2019, whether or not that was his explicit mission. He paved the path for his own premiership and empowered his own confederates within Britain's security and intelligence services. I mean, the fact that he, like I said earlier, it just makes me sick. I'm really glad I did not vote for Labour, because the fact that he represented, the fact that he was in charge of an investigation on behalf of the CPS. I mean, that just makes me sick, and it just really pisses me off. And also the fact that it was the police that were the ones that took the brunt of the blame, and it wasn't and it wasn't Starman, it wasn't the CPS. And I hate Boris Johnson, but the fact that he brought it up and then he was forced to apologise. I mean, he definitely got a phone call from very high ups, and to say that yo, apologise right now. The fact that he had to do it so quick, I mean, says a lot. Um, yeah, it's I'm really glad I didn't vote for Labour. Even though even though I wanted the Tories gone, but at the same time, there was just something about the Labour Party. There was just something about the Labour Party. I was like, something's off about them, and this I did not know about. So I'm pretty glad I came across it. Anyway, I'm sorry that this video went on a little too long. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and please like, comment, and subscribe on this video, and and again, follow me on X and subscribe on YouTube, Rumble, and Odyssey as well if you don't mind, please. And let me know in the comments on what you think of what I was talking about in this video. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.